And today we're going to talk about like, what is the illusion? Because we talk a lot about how people need to understand their illusions or their shadows and integrate these things into healing processes and stuff, or that we're living in a simulation and that the stuff isn't real, and our emotions and our beliefs are foundations of our experience. Neville Goddard talks about simulation theory. Eckart Tolle has talked about simulation theory. So there's a lot of different people that talk about simulation theory. If you'd like to go research it, if you don't just want to listen to us, there's other people out there that talk about this stuff. And this is also ancient knowledge. So this was something even the ancient people thought was a thing. They thought it was a simulation. So that's cool stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So you have a better understanding of what in the hell we are talking about when we are talking about how you need to understand your illusions. Because you can take control of this shit. That's really what it's about. It's like living in a computer system, and computer systems are based on programmed codes. So there's laws that they have to abide by. And then certain things appear if then else. So everything has a structure. Everything is hiddenly structured. We just don't see the structure that lies beneath all of life. So this is going to be super interesting, and I'm super excited that Spirit is here. So I invite Spirit into this space now, and I thank the divine of love and compassion and truth for coming forward to help us with this teaching today. I pray that our audience can raise their vibration, open up their hearts and their minds to be able to receive the information the way it was intended to be received. I hope that we have an understanding of this so we can get a better grasp of our life and take better control of our life so we can find happiness and peace. And Lazarus and Lucian, I'm excited that you guys are here to teach us what we need to know to move forward. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to Michelle and I for coming forward to be channels for this information. And thank you guys for joining us. And let's do this shit. Amen.
Amen. Absolutely. And Allah, we say Allah.
Yeah, I got this like unicorn thing going on. So that's cool. So
okay. So now I know Laura gave me a unicorn headband.
Oh,
okay. I was right. She said it's not mine. It's not for us. It's for you.
Yeah. Well,
but it's not meant for us. But it's real cute. You put the hairband on, and it's a unicorn head.
I like that.
So it's yours. When you said unicorn, I go, yeah, that's right there.
Perfect.
We'll bring it Friday.
Oh man, and it's 1:11.
Oh, perfect.
So I was watching Aaron Doty the other day, and he was talking about how our reality is an illusion. What? That's what we're talking about. And he was saying our reality is a reflection of the mind, that the things that we see out in our world are only being seen because we believe they are there. Our beliefs are the foundation of what we experience in our reality, our belief. And how do we get our beliefs? Well, we come into a body, and our family teaches us things. Our environment teaches us things. We go to school and we learn new things. So all of our beliefs are given from the outside world to us. We don't come in with these beliefs. They are given inside the simulation, which is cool. But our base thing is we're source energy. What the hell is source energy? That's what we come from. This is God. This is light. This is energy. It's love. It's vibration. It's frequency. It's balls of light. It's energy. It's not this. This is all a projection from our mind. Our mind is the tool that is creating what we see. And our emotions give us the opportunity to experience what we see and to feel what we see so we can believe it to be true. Again, this is strengthening our belief, which is our foundation for believing that this is a reality. So let's talk about all this stuff. Let's talk about it. And we give it the meaning too. The meaning, there's no meaning to anything. We actually give meaning, like this orange cone. I'm saying, hey, this is an orange cone and this kind of makes me happy. Well, I'm giving this meaning. It's really just zeros and ones. It's zeros and ones.
Right. Well, this is okay. So we'll do an experiment.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So I want everybody, to close your eyes. I want everybody to close their eyes. If you're driving, please don't drive. Do this later. But so people that are not driving or doing anything like such, close your eyes. And, now imagine you have a lemon in front of you. And we all know lemons are sour, correct? All lemons are sour. So you're in the kitchen, you're looking forward to this lemon, and so you've got this knife, and you know, picture yourself, you're cutting this lemon in half. You can't wait to taste it. Your glands are just getting all excited, like, I can't wait for this. So you cut it in half, you peel the skin off, and you put it to your mouth, and you can literally taste it in your mouth. It's not in your mouth. Notice it's not in your mouth, but your mind does not know the difference between it in your mouth now or in your imagination. Now, because you'll do this.
You
I
fuck
can feel
her
her.
up.
You
Yeah.
fuck her up, because now, so that tells you will believe it. Your mind doesn't know the difference between this illusion. So you see how your senses will take and interpret it. You have to, when you come here, remember your family's DNA has a lot to do with it as well. So if you have a smoker in the family, there's chances it could increase it somewhere in the family line. So why do you develop great habits? So you don't go do these kinds of habits. So sometimes your DNA has a little bit to do with things too, and your habits. That's why you have to learn your belief system and not go by everything that's being taught. You have, and your mind wants to give meaning to everything, to understand the environment it's around.
Yeah.
So when you do this stuff, that's what is happening. You are interpreting your world, and you're always interpreting your world, and your mind's always interpreting according to how your senses. And like Angie said, it's the zeros and ones and the meaning you're giving it. And that's why a lot of teachers say the best thing to do, like overthinking. Again, your mind just, somebody, Sally said shit to me. Oh my God, it's just the worst thing. And you triggered to what Sally said. It might not even anything Sally said, because you're thinking what George said 5 hours ago, but it triggers because of what Sally. So you do with your mind is you go, it's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It is what it is. It simply is what it is. And it does not give your mind any time. So it can't say it's good. Can't say it's bad, because you're saying it is what it is. You're just saying it's a lesson in what it is. It's okay. Whatever it means, don't give a meaning to it. And we do more, just don't give it a meaning. Because humans want to say, oh my God, that's the worst thing, and this is so bad. And now it's a trick. It's like, why? Because that's where your mind's going to go. It's always good, it's bad. And we'll stay away from things that are painful. We don't want to do anything that's painful. But that goes back to fear of flight in the caveman days. Yeah. And you had to be in fear of flight. Very dangerous. We can tell you, very dangerous. You better be on your damn shit. Yeah. That's not a joke. That's just not a Monty Python thing. That really is for fucking true, man. You'll get your ass clubbed. But that's fear of flight. But see, since we've evolved, well, some humans have evolved. We have evolved, but we're still learning and evolving. Even though we're doing this, we're still evolving ourselves. Humans have evolved since all of that. So your mind is still in this fear of flight. And you have to take that. And it's just, we're trying to protect you. But also it's your ego and your ego mind. So we have an example in the Bible. We're going to talk about Job, because people have interpreted one way. We have our interpretation. And when I say our interpretation, it just means the truth, how it is, but you see it how the truth it is, however it helps you. But we're going to explain it in our terms to explain the illusion, because it does. But like I said, this is our interpretation. Once you hear it, you go, that makes a lot of sense. Because the Bible, if you don't understand, you just go straight. And there's a lot of smart scholars. I'm not saying that. So if you have your own interpretation and you go up off, fine. Just hear me out. But it describes the illusion much better in that. So I will, but that's from our point. But that thing with the lemon shows how your mind. So when you go to this cave, that's when we say your metaphorical cave, your mind will just taste. You will taste defeat. Your senses will see it. You're there. You're feeling it all. And then if you are doing, like, you're a medium, you're psychic, you literally will go there and relive all of the moments. And you're there because your senses are taking you there. Yeah. So basically you live by your senses, like Angie said, and you are just giving it meaning. What does it mean to me? And how do I make a decision based on this meaning? How do I decide? Like, you see it, you give it the meaning, and then you decide, what does it mean to you? Is this good? Is this bad? Is this going to trigger me? What does this mean? Yeah. So, and that's right. And there's very many good teachers that talk about the illusion. Yeah. So like Angie said, if you don't believe anything we'll say, there is other that will teach this. Yeah. And the illusion, by the way, will mess with all your other multiverses. as well. But like I said, we'll go to Job, and Job will explain a lot of what we're talking about.
And sometimes when we're dreaming, we feel like that dream is real because we're easily deceived as whatever we're seeing is our reality. That's another confirmation that there's more going on than what we think, because a lot of those dreams, you're astral traveling, you're going to another life that you have, you're going to another experience that your source energy is experiencing within this simulation. And we've talked before, Spirit has said before, we only have one body, right? So in this illusion, we have one body that's experiencing all the lives at the same time. And every life you've ever lived, you're living it now. It's all happening now. You don't come back to do things. Well, you come back, but you're living them all again. You're living them all again to progress and to evolve. So everything is happening now. So, and we've heard Shakespeare say that life is a stage, right? That this is a play. It's a divine play. Everything is structured. It looks chaotic and stuff, but everything is still structured. It's still based on code, zeros and ones. And if our beliefs are our foundation, a lot of us need to change our beliefs. We need to look at our beliefs, because we can look at a past situation and change the beliefs on that situation. We could heal from our past by just telling our mind something else happened. We can transform our life to be like this beautiful divine life that we want to have by believing it's possible, changing our beliefs. So it's powerful stuff. So let's get into Job. Let's talk about Job and how that reflects this for us to see.
Okay, so this is Loki. We look professional right now. Yeah, this looks well. Hey, it's not purple. I'm good with the black. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about Job, and then we're each of us. We have Lucifer. We got myself and Meku, and we're going to talk about the chaotic part of the illusion.
Perfect.
Why does Angie carry the Lazarus part of the illusion? Why do we carry this part of the illusion? That way people get both sides of the illusion and what it means. So we picked the three that are the chaotic, and you can talk about how it is over there on your side, the illusion based to the light and the dark. There's a yin to the yang. So we want, especially with the world where it's at, we want to make sure humans are catching this, so you will learn. So we want to, the both are sets as lessons on the illusion. So we'll start on Job, and then I will talk over here on that. And then Angie, you go ahead and you with yours as well, because as soon as we talk, she'll like what we said, because her poor son, Lucaeus, gave him 15 minutes of conversation to help him. He goes, no offense, Lucaeus, I didn't understand a word you said. And he goes, I'm sorry, but Angie's not here right now. So so we figured we're going to have to just, when we give him advice, you're just going to have to stand right there, because he didn't understand a word of his vibration. But so we'll get into Job. So Job, you get into the very beginning of Job, and you hear this great man. He's the most loved, and he's got all of this money, and his kids are doing this, and he's going and he is doing sacrifices to appease God for his children. So we all think, oh, he sounds wonderful. No. Nay. Okay, nay. First off, he's very certain of everything, so he's prideful.
Okay.
Isn't that kind of a sin, to be prideful of your stuff? First, why are we talking about his bragging and what he has? This is riches. So the author writing Job was impressed upon the stuff that Job has. Nay. You're not supposed to attach to your stuff.
Yeah.
We don't know Job's past, so you don't know what kind of past he has. You just know where he is here, and you just know he's great in appeasing to God. Well, you know he's not perfect because he's here in this realm. See, automatically he ain't perfect.
Yeah.
So, or something, and then he is fixing shit for his kids. Why doesn't he teach his kids to do that himself? Why did he not teach his children this? Why is he doing it? So basically, he's not teaching his children to do that themselves. He's very certain of the circumstances. So if you do it by Tony Robbins, he's very certain of what he's got. and he's not, and there's no contribution here. There's nothing here. He's just certain of everything is perfect. And he knows as long as I do step by step, there's no ritual, there's no love in it anymore. When you do a ritual to the most divine, there's ritual, there's love, there's feeling behind it. But sometimes, like Ram Dass has said before, you get into a ritual where you feel nothing anymore. You do it because it's a ritual. I go to church because it's a ritual. It's to do because I will go here, and that's my paradise. So there's his thought process. I'll just do it. And for my kids, well, why aren't you teaching your kids this shit? And why are they doing that so that you have to do this? Okay, because if you're a righteous man, why? And so there's my thing. So now you have the Satan, the accuser, and you have God. Okay, so this is his conscience. This is the illusion now. He knows in the back of his head, growth has to occur. You have to grow to learn. He's not learning right now. He's in a certainty of his pride, of he's got all of this stuff. So he's got stuff, he's got certainty, he's got his friends, and he's divine, and all. Let's go to Job because he knows everything. He doesn't know everything because he's not walking. He's not insufferable. He isn't walking that no more. He's not growing. So Job is at a standstill. So of course, growth has to occur. So how does the author explain the growth? You have to say something bad. Well, that's the illusion. That's the illusion stepping forth. He knows in the back of his head something has to give. He knows it. He knows something has to give. So in the worst case scenario, he has imagined everything is leaving, and his kids too. He imagined it would happen, and it happened because he manifested it to happen. And you go, that's just really wrong. No, it's not. This is how you guys all do. You live it in here in the back of his head. And he knows he's doing routine. He knows in his heart, I'm not doing enough, but I'm comfortable. He's not uncomfortable anymore. He's comfortable in his life. And he's not going to do anything. So the illusion says, nay, There's Lucifer saying no. And I'm not saying that's the Satan, by the way. I'm just saying Lucifer's theory would be, no. That's your own illusion saying you need to flash a flashlight here and get some shit going. So in his illusion, to learn in his journey here to be closer to the divine, that's what happened. All of this happened. So he ripped his clothes and he was faithful to the divine because it's not that bad. You say, well, that is bad. No, it is not really, because he's still comfortable because he believes in the back of his head, I'm righteous. He hears me. It'll all be returned to me. And he's in disbelief and he's bargaining. He knows, he's like in his head, like how many humans do this? When something bad happens to you, you go into this disbelief. It's not true. It can't happen to me. I'm a good person. I contribute. That is not what happens. Well, that's what the Christian church was teaching everybody in the day. If you're good, it can't happen to you. Yeah. And so he's thinking, I'm divine. It's all good. Until the illusion in the back of his head, he knows there has to be more boils on his skin to deflect him, to make him really think about shit. So then you go, well, shouldn't that be enough? Didn't he pick it up? And because again, he was righteous and he's great. No. So then you got the three friends that come forth. Let's explain the three friends. You got Eliphaz, the Temanite, Bildad, the Shehite, Zophar, the Namathite. Okay. And I have it written here because in every realm, the names are different. In this realm, it's different. So I had to do that. So now that I got that, I can take these damn things off. So, I hate these things. Yeah, I don't like them, but just for this purpose, because it changes in every realm, this particular name. So the three friends come, and so for 7 days they sit with him. They see him. Oh my God, this is the most terrible thing. But inside they're going, they're like, oh, they're loving this shit. I like it. I'm loving it. Because how many of your friends really, truly will sit with you? And you go, well, what in the hell? So you go, well, if that wasn't, they sat there. They didn't come in to help him. They sat for 7 days. And the signs, and so according to that was great. No, that was the worst thing they could. So they gave him 7 days to really go in his mind and go, oh, I suck. Because your mind will just take you down. He just was 7 days. So his mind is going ape shit crazy. They're sitting with him. They should have been talking to him, reassuring him, preaching things to him. But instead, they were just happy to see, and we know that by the conversations, because they're not nice to him. It's like, what did he do wrong? Oh my God, what did he do wrong? I want to know the juicy gossip. Come on, gossip, come on. And because they were just excited to see this. So what would be the meaning of all of this? See, that's how crafty your divine is. It is crafty, you know? So this is the illusion again. So they're talking. A mere reflection of what he already knows. All they're doing is reciting information to get him closer to his truth, to give him some uncertainty, to get him back to certainty in a good way, to love, where he did start off as love. His own wife won't talk to him. He says nobody's talking to him. They're treating him like shit because he was an egomaniac asshole. Nobody wanted to talk to him anymore. And when this happened, people were like, yes, he's not to go to anymore. They're just walk away from him. And that hurt his ego. Job had an ego because that shouldn't have bothered him. He attached to this stuff.
Yeah.
Again, okay, you are not attached to this. So all these three friends are doing is reflecting questions that are in his head, the illusion, basically the flashlight. All they're doing is mirroring stuff he already knows, but giving it back to him in a different sort of information. Because they would mention some truths, but then they would twist it around saying, oh, but what did you do? But what did you do? You did something wrong. You did something wrong. And then he'd come back and defend. Then you notice Job starts going in this rant like, I should have never been born. Should have never been born out of the womb. I should have never been here. Oh my God, life's horrible. God and the righteous. Oh my God. And then, but then you'll notice towards the end, he'll start, oh, but you know, like that, you know, because it's being reminded and dished out to him. Mere reflection. It's making him think. What does your highest self do? What do guides do? They make you think. We never gave you girls information. We made you think. Sometimes it doesn't come in the form of the guidance of divinity like you think. It's going to come sometimes to your friends, mirroring this information back at you, giving that wisdom back at you, just mirroring it back to you. And that's how crafty the divine is. And you manifested this. You manifest what is the best way I'm going to hear this information. Well, for Job, he's already mad at God right now because he's certain of everything. I've done all this ritual. Now he's pissed at me. He even says he's angry at me. So you manifest these three people who piss me off. To make me listen because they already, and he knew these three people are going to be the worst three people. They came out to show this jealousy. They were excited to see, oh my God, but also shows you the ignorance of gossip. What you know, if you don't understand something, don't tell somebody else. That was another thing. But giving him information that he knows and hearing their misinformation. And he was probably thinking, oh shit, I'm teaching this shit. Why are they saying that to me? Why are they saying that to me? Because it's your own stupidity and reminding him you did do stuff. You did do stuff. You did. If you'd have took care of your children, teaching them, you still have your children. If you were starting to give to other people, you wouldn't have lost your livestock. And making him think. And when he says nobody's talking to him, well, that's his ego. And they're reminding him again, oh, who are you? Whoa, woe is you. Who is that? Because that's him reflecting again. Why? It's your ego. It's all your ego. So then Job goes and he's pissed off. And so the divine answer. So you think you can do better? Well, let me tell you what I do. What I do. You think you can do better? And all of you? And that is the highest source saying, don't trust other information. What is in your heart is in your heart. Job knows the truth. Job knows all of this. He knows Job knows all of this. He's just rehashing it back to Job. All of these three people, basically, they don't know what they're talking about, but it's reminding you the truth. It's reminding you who you are in me. Who are you in me, in this divinity, whoever that is for you? Buddha, God, whatever it is. Lucifer, it don't matter. What is it to you? And that's all it was about, was the illusion, breaking this illusion. He created this reality for growth. He created it. And then when the divine comes in and does, it was making him back as a wake-up call. That was a spiritual awakening as well. That's when you feel like an exorcism. He probably just felt like this whole exorcism with this energy coming forth. But what it did is strengthened him. He gets everything back. And they say, well, nobody ever understood. It was very clear to me. There was no reason for explanation because he thought basically he learned his lesson. And once he passed the lesson, they gave back what was lost because now he was going to give. He was going to be in a better state. I'm going to love now. I'm going to teach my children how to do their own thing. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give my stuff. I'm not going to attach to all of this stuff. And I'm going to be a better listener. Because my friends, when they came in, they were terrible listeners. So he's going to learn a lot from this transaction with the higher self that teaches you. And he probably went from a 2D to a 5D because it all had to happen. So when you go through spiritual awakening, what do we go for? We're going to have shitty friends. We have shitty advice. Our guides don't feel like they're around us. You know, that's what it feels like, you know? I've walked many times now. Well, I walked, it was Planet 2, you know, like Planet 2, whatever. I thought you were telling me to hush for the record. What are we doing? But for Planet 2, when I was here, that's what it would have been, you know, like I did a lot of shit. I got my ass spanked, you know, and it sucked. And I can't come here to Planet 4. It's more easier for us to just do it like this. We're still learning as well. But Job is a good story of illusion and how a human will evolve. And he created this whole illusion to learn and grow. And the divinity that the good part of Job understood that. The part of him that it was overthinking and just again he had it easy because you don't know, like I said, what was he doing beforehand? You have no idea why he's not teaching his kids and why is everybody treating him pretty shitty. Well, read between the lines, it's pretty simple what he's doing. He's being an egomaniac, you know, and there's so many people in a hateful world saying, I know better than you. You think you know the Bible? I go to church. You know, I got the 4 John coins. Absolutely. That's similar. And that's somebody preaching information. Everybody has their own interpretation. We're no different. This is interpretation that people sit there and they have all their different versions. And I appreciate all versions. Just think about this version because it makes more sense. And because they said, we watched that Bible project and they said, nobody's ever knows what happened at the end. It's obvious. Look at it. Why are we, it's overthinking it. Once again, this was an illusion, manifestation. And then you put Tony Robbins and it just puts it like, where's Watto? Right here, smack in the middle to help a human understand why, you know, like, and you go, well, why would it be in there? To teach you about illusion. To teach you about illusion. You have, and then we'll, you know, when the others come out to talk, we're going to talk about what happens when you do live a life where you're kind of an asshole. What happens to you after? We're going to talk about that because I think that's important. That scared Laura. I told Laura, she goes, because Mayku told her, and she goes, and explains Cosmo and explains Kramer as well. But we don't, I don't know say it anymore, but we did that. But for Job, that's our interpretation of Job and describing the illusion, your manifestation and your thoughts and what happens.
Yeah. And that's perfect. It's perfect. And again, his foundation was his belief system, and his belief system got wonky along the way. His ego allowed it to get wonky. His heart was no longer in it. And that's a lot in the Bible. If you read it, and I think a lot of these stories we need to read in between the lines. We not just pick out a quote that supports your shitty theory or your shitty belief. That's not what the book was for. Read in between lines. There's a lot in there. And the character of Jesus is very relevant in the New Testament. If you read between the lines, if you look at what he's doing, how he responds to things, he does not respond the way we respond to things. So Job is a great story because so many of us, I hate the term righteous. I hate that so many religious people consider themselves righteous over other people's, and yet they also consider themselves sinners. Can't have both. Your beliefs are fucked. Sorry, your beliefs are messed up. We need to work on our beliefs. We can't think these things. There's no heart in it. And if there's no heart, you're not really reflecting God anymore. You're reflecting your selfishness. You're just saying, I want to take what I want from the illusion, and I want to show it and shove it in your face. And I'm going to say whatever I want to say to make my illusions real because they make me feel good. We're not necessarily here to feel good. You know, we're here to clear shit up. We're here to evolve. We're here to fix ourselves. Job, right, wasn't great, lost his shit, all that stuff. I can so relate. I was miserable in my life and I wouldn't look at it. I was seeing a psychiatrist and she's like, do you want to talk about your husband? And I was like, oh no, things are great. Because I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to look at it. Well, I had to look at it eventually, and it was a gigantic mess by the time I finally looked at it. And then everything hit. Ellie got cancer. I got Lyme disease. I lost my job. It was just bing, bang, boom, boom, boom. Everything was gone. I had Scott, like there was some stuff that was added in, but I lost my shit and I didn't know how to find my way. I had to just sit and listen. I was certain that I was miserable, but I was content with it. All of it was gone. Now I'm very charitable. Because I lost everything. And when you can lose everything, you know how to help others that are losing everything. If someone sends you $50, that can mean so much to you because you don't have that anymore. Well, you used to just go and work and do your job. And well, now that's freaking gone. We can lose anything. There's no need for us to be selfish and stubborn in this illusion. Just be love. We are here for love. So let's talk about Maku, right? So let's talk about if you're this hateful person, what happens to you?
All right, this is Maku. And I cannot tell the job that I did, but I think pretty much can figure out what I did. I think we can all just figure it out. Japanese mob. There you go. Right. So I didn't say it. That's what I was. Yakuza. No, I'm just going to say it. Honestly, it's Yakuza. I mean, it is what it is. So because it doesn't mean anything if you don't know how hateful I was. All right. It doesn't mean any. I could say, say mafia. We've heard that. No, we were meaner than the mafia. And I don't care if you're siding with the mafia. Kick your ass. I'm sorry. So now, okay. So very quick, now your illusion. I was born into this.
Right.
You're born into Yakuza. You're in it.
Yeah.
To tell you how, and I'll just briefly how hateful, just so you know, and whether they do this now, they quit, don't know. I just know what happened to me, and that every single reality, because I'm trying to make my illusion a lesson, and whatever this lesson was, and I'll explain that. So you had Locaeus as the older brother, we had Loki and me. And if you had something significant, because you're going to be a dangerous person, you were born into it, you're going to be dangerous. You were quickly humbled. And so I had a twin sister, which would have been you girls, Shonda. She was removed. I didn't know I had a twin sister, by the way. I had red hair. Yeah, it's Japanese, red hair. I know, heard the jokes. We're like, what the hell did that come from? Don't know. But I was the youngest out of two assholes. but I didn't know I had twin sisters. So she was taken. So how it would work is you would have the main, you would have where it's, and I'm explaining it so people can understand the violence. And I will get to that. As you had the main head, you was Papa. You had your Papa. You go down, and you didn't mess with this person. Was in charge of everything. If he said jump off a cliff, you jumped off the cliff. And then you had secondary houses, and you were uncles and auntie, and they would take care of the houses below. And we were the third below. So we had uncle and auntie, which are not our uncle and auntie. It's just a term, and that was not our Papa. That's just what you called the head. I had our own parents. Our mom was like a badass. But they removed Shonda because one of the things, you don't want to fall in love or love anything, because that could be removed for you and be your weakness. And you didn't want something as a weakness, because if they took that weakness from you, now you're a target. See, and you don't want to be a target for anything. So she was removed because they knew, being my twin, I would defend her, she would defend me, and we were going to be each other's target. So she was quickly removed, but she was returned later on. But at that time, but to humble us. So Locaeus had beautiful fingers when he, and Mama said, oh, he's got beautiful fingers. But he also tried to go against our father and try to be dominant over our dad. So he took his fingers, so that way he'd always have to depend on somebody else, because you can't do anything with the sword without these. So he's always going to have to be dependent. So he was very good vocally. And you notice he is very good vocally, because he had to be. You had Loki. So Loki had a beautiful jawline. Removed his teeth right in here. He couldn't chew on this side. And he always had jaw pain. Me, Mama said I had a beautiful face. No more beautiful face. I wore a mask to hide my head. I didn't want anybody to see it. So from the age of 4 on, my face is scarred. So we each had, but it was to humble us because we were going to be dangerous assassins. That was to humble us. Each, if you're going to be part of it, you're born into it, you're going to have something with you. And so we are born into this lifestyle. You're born into hate. You're born to see other beliefs as this is your enemy. You protect your family, but your family could be so corrupt, but you had to defend your family or you are on the line. And I could go through story after story after story of unfair. But in the time, my beliefs were my family matters, nobody else matters. Like examples, we'd walk in and we would defend, like we were protecting neighborhoods. We were being bullies, and we would have a little setup of we would kill families because it was part of the family, even though, and you couldn't fall in love with these people because you weren't allowed to. It was their kids or your children. It was, and so you weren't going to side. So my beliefs were messed up because I had to go by, and I'm thinking of my own life. I was significant. I was very significant. I was very certain. I had to be in certainty, but I loved the uncertainty of other people not knowing I'm a dangerous weapon. They called me that, a dangerous assassin. They called me that. They got, Shonda came back at 16. I found out I had a sister who was as dangerous because Mama said she was going to be trained because Mom was trained. She was going to be trained because she wasn't going to have her daughter just sit and be raped, because that's what would happen to a Yakuza woman. She could be raped. So she was as dangerous as I was, and she was with me now, but now we're both targets. So you had that. But so this is my belief. So here I am, and there's different illusions, and each illusion, me and Shonda dies in a horrible way. Every illusion, I want to be a spiritual teacher. Every illusion, she was the one that would pray. We lost a son due to a murder, due to somebody coming into and killing our son in the fire. And it broke her heart for 3 years. It was our first. So the illusion, karma supposedly took care. But she took in children this lady had that did it. She was the one that did it, but she took it in. She would pray a lot. After this happened, it was her breakdown. She would try to save these families. She'd come forth because we would be up here. She's the one getting the families and bringing them forward. She would beg the mom, beg the children, come on, where's the money? You got to pay them. They're going to kill you. I'm serious. Sometimes she would just give them her own money to pay us. We never knew she's doing that, just to save them. That's what her heart was, because she was starting to pick up the illusion. She didn't want this life anymore. And she came to me, and every scenario, I got the goosebumps, every scenario she comes to me and she says, we got to leave. I said, they're going to kill us. She said, I'd rather just live a few good years with you and die, but I can't do this anymore. And we would always go to the mountains and be teachers, where I did teach. And we were always found somehow. Either our children met their children, but it's always Locaus and Loki killing us because we left the family, and we were always killed. So you ask on that. So after there's every possible scenario. So this is what happens. Every possible scenario that this part of the illusion can be, every lesson that is probable that you could do, like if your video games, you now are set, and each is like dissected, and you're not in the same with the other people now. You're going through your own illusion. So the worst murders that I would have done, how do you think they felt when you did that, when you scared them? And I would be, oh, I loved it. I said, I love to shoot out that window. I mean, my thing was being the passenger. Shonda would drive, and I would take my gun out the window, and I would just bab at anybody because I was drunk and I wanted to. And I loved the fear and the intimidation it would give me, because I felt significant. And it was great for me. Like, I believe that these are my enemies. These are little people below me. Who am I? So they said, so how do you think they felt when you had your gun going to them? I would be like, I don't give a shit, because that was my attitude, even to the great divine. I don't give a crap. I don't give a shit. Okay. So you don't relive that whole life. You just go to that segment over and over. You're seeing yourself do that to yourself because you're one. Everybody is an illusion of the other one. It's all they are. So you see yourself coming at you. You know it's going to happen. You know you're going to die in your hands to feel that fear. And it's to break you down over and over and over. And by that point, it was scaring me. Okay, because now I know I'm going to get killed. How's that going to feel? And they make you lay in it. And they'll tell you, and they'll look at you. How does that feel? How do you think they felt? How do they feel? Because it's still you. It's just you experiencing a different way. Sometimes they will make you come back as that person, seeing that person come at you. So, and you would ask, so you have it easy because where you're at, you have it pretty easy. No, I don't. Because now I got to teach it. I get to teach it. Laura told me, is it any easier what I'm doing compared to what you're doing? I said, no, it's not. I said, mine is teaching it in a different reality. Because what my Yakuza don't exist in this part. When I say you guys do have that, what mine was a different version, different realm, but it's still my illusion, because I am connected to Shonda. She's my twin sister. So I am always going to be connected to Shonda, no matter where. And this is your lessons. And her, but see, the spiritual teacher, I was going to be a teacher, spiritual teacher, and teach. Kids loved me, and it hurt me to know later on all the shit I did. And it's just my beliefs. I just see it, I judged it, and I went, because that's all I knew. It was my life or them. And she'd always tell me, I just wish it could just be our lives and just relive this. And we don't have to do this anymore. And then when we would always be faced up to die, she says, good, we deserve this. We deserve to die. And I said, we do. We did. And they'd always hold her up and I'd watch her die in front of me. The only thing I love, and they knew that. But I don't blame them for that, because that was an illusion again, because I knew I didn't earn her. She wasn't mine. I knew in the end, all the things I did to somebody else, it was going to happen. And she just understood it more than I did at that point. So when you're hate, understand, you'll relive that. So if you're scaring somebody else because of your belief, you get to walk, because you are this person. You are that, but you're not separate. This body is an illusion. There is no body. Your mind has created this so you can function, because your light is here, but you can't accept there's a light. There is really nothing here. There's nothing. This is how for your illusion, for this, okay? Think on that, ponder that one. But that's what happens. You know, your belief system and everything, you will have to face it. That's all Lucifer always did, the flashlight. And wouldn't you rather just stop your shit now? Had I known the intimidation, if I'd known I was born into this family all over again, I would somehow try to leave. And however, I would just try to get the hell out, because, but see, you're scared. You get automatically fear, intimidation, but hey, there's a higher voice within. And I always knew something was better. When my mom was the face of an angel. She loved me. She died. I think she willed it because she didn't want to be there anymore. I was 6 when she died. And she was like, you could just tell when she died, it was so peaceful. Like, I just want to go. And I wished when I felt that, she held my hand and told me to leave. She said, leave. Get your sister and leave. I go, what sister? Leave. I was too prideful. I wanted to be significant. I wanted to be like my brothers. I wanted to be like my dad. I wanted to be like Papa. You want to strive to be Papa, work with Papa. And that's what your hate gets you, your beliefs, even hateful beliefs. I thought Jesus was fiction. I didn't believe in anything. Shonda did. I didn't. I believed I was God and I was going to take control. But look where it took me. It didn't take me anywhere. I'm not proud of what I did. If people think, well, you're just talking like you're prideful. No, I'm not. There was good moments I had. There were family that taught me be grateful for my family, but the belief system is all messed up. And y'all know Lucius and Loki, and you just know it was an illusion. You can't blame, that's a light of yourself just trying to teach you a lesson. My lesson was when my mom said leave, I should have left. I should have put it and left. I knew to leave, even at 6 years old to leave, and I didn't. So this is where hate and the illusion can take you. My beliefs, I decided, and I took your life, I took it. So this comes from a hateful person. And this makes me feel terrible to preach this. I really do. I don't like this. But I need to learn too. I need to learn as much as anybody else. I'm just in a different reality, a different light to learn, to teach all of you humans don't be me. Don't be like Loki. Don't be like Lucifer. Actually be like Lucifer, only because he makes you tell the truth. And he'll tell his story briefly and then Loki, but that's on my end. And I apologize, Angie, I try to keep it as, but I want people to understand the world is this, but you can change your world, your beliefs. If Shonda believed something better, she got me to believe because I loved her more than anything, which again, I should not have loved her more than anything. I should have loved this more, her. She did love this more than me. She just wanted to keep us protected because she knew I was just an idiot. But her belief was there's something better. And you can always change your beliefs, always. Don't do what I did. It wasn't worth it. It's not, because you will have to relive this. You don't want to get into that. You can ask Cosmo and Kramer. This is what they're doing. And they're teaching this. Don't be a me. And that's one of the worst things, because you love this so much. You don't want somebody else to walk blindly. That's why Jesus did what he did. That's why Lucifer did what he did, and Loki and all of us. That's why the girls do what they do, to teach being vulnerable. And right now I'm being very vulnerable, and being part of that mob, you are not vulnerable, because that is just, you're going to die. I'm being vulnerable now because I don't want people to hurt each other, kids hurting each other and shootings. I don't want that anymore. I don't want that. I shouldn't have wanted it then, but I don't want it. So I'm just, don't be a me.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing all that. I know it wasn't easy, but I hope it was received the way it needs to be received to the people it needs to be received to.
That's how I'm hoping it is received, how it should be received. Is absolutely.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect.
No.
So Loki and Lucifer wanted to share their illusion.
Yes, and this is Lucifer. I'll make it brief. Everybody should. So I'm not in that state that I was before, but I'm still shrouded with the part of her. I'm still. When I walked, my illusion was I was going to, and I was going to save everybody. I was just going to save. So was my ego. But I loved her. I love Lilith more than anything. Okay. I loved her more than anything. And being a teacher, and I wanted to teach. So the illusion was I was an archangel, and I'm better. My wings might not have been there, but my mind was still of an archangel, because I still had the forgiveness and love in my heart. But who you hang around with will start. And I'm not saying Lilith, but she had been there more, and she had encountered with Samuel and Adam. So her beliefs are all messed up. And me trying to be the ego savior, I'm trying to be there for her. But in the process, it lowers. And then I see Cain, and then that lowers. And then I see Samuel again. And so we got this group walking with us. Between it all, it was just an illusion. So at first when they walked, it was people would listen. And I would do that, and nobody was worried about my eyes. She and Lilith, and so I would say the first 200, 300 years, it was good. I'm not saying it was perfect. It was never going to be, but I would help people. I'd see it in their face. They'd go on and be great. And then my illusion was, I was starting to see hate. And I started to see it, and I go, that's just terrible. And I remember the first person that came in there and raped Lilith and hit me. And I wasn't used to that. And everybody, I don't want to repeat everything, but we were all abused along the way, to the point I lost both my eyes. We lost our children. And by the time I went to see my brother, I saw his hand reach out crying, and we all went to the light. Except for Lilith. She's the only one that walked out past his illusion. And then Locaeus became that light of the Archangel Lucifer, and I am the dark demon, meaning when you say that, I'm just a shadow version of myself. I'm just shadow. I'm strictly shadow. I've hid myself in my own illusion to keep myself protected from humans. I don't like humans. I'm very bold. I don't like humans. And why am I here teaching the illusion? Was because my illusion, I created the beatings. I created my reality. I wanted to know what it felt like. And divine way, I was attached to this. And I was being taught, don't attach to your eyes. That is not what makes you see. Don't attach to this. This is not what makes you you. You are one of mine, but see, now you're walking like a human and you're in a human, and that's not who I created you to be. And in my illusion, I was these people. I wasn't. I was never meant to be this person. I was never meant to. When I saw the hate, back in my head was, I want to experience that. And you might go, well, but how do you grow? To grow, you have to. All these things that I put forth, I experienced because I wanted it in my reality. And I was supposed to learn from that with the flashlight. I was supposed to learn to give them, I did give them, the love and that because I had to. I had no choice. But as well, the illusion was I was supposed to learn from these experiences. But what I did, I gave up in disparity. I started blaming humans and saying it was their fault, their fault, their fault. And reality, I was just supposed to learn to not teaching that as such. So I don't know. I basically, I should have learned. I didn't learn. And I fell in my own darkness, my own cave, which is why we teach what we teach. And that's why people don't understand what I do. I take the flashlight and I do this. I do this to people. I'm sorry. I keep looking at her eyes. Her eyes are just, I can't keep looking. I can't, I don't like the reflection. So I want to look over here on you, Angie. I can't look over here anymore. I can't. It's distracting me too bad because I'm seeing my reflection and I don't like my reflection being back at me. So I'm going to look over here. So my eyes keep, because over here, it's over here. So if you're wondering why I'm stuttering, that's why I don't like looking at over here. I love her. It's just, I don't like the mirror reflection. I don't like my reflection. But it's the mirror part of things, and I stay in my own illusion. I don't be around humans. They never caused nothing. I caused it. I caused my own destruction, and all I wanted to do was experience something, but I was supposed to experience it, grow from it, and be a teacher and grow from that. Like my whole walk that I did reflects Jesus's walk, except Jesus knew his walk. He knew to help people. People weren't nice to him. People tortured him, and then he dies like he dies because he learned to be humbled in that. He learned, this isn't for me, this is for a higher purpose. I was supposed to do it for the higher purpose. But see, when my selfishness, it was all about me, all about how I was taking the pain, how I was experiencing the pain, and that was an illusion. So you're not supposed to go into your cave if you feel in this dark place, and you're not supposed to stay there. I was supposed to go out and teach the divine. And if I was going to teach, I was supposed to teach, and I didn't. Why did Lilith say the only person? Because she started saying, forgive them, forgive. She started doing my job to me, what I should have been doing. She was blessing these people. It's all right. It's okay. And it's not. She's crying, saying how many children of us died. We're watching these. But they stopped kind of with her. They were still on us guys, but see, they kind of stopped with her because the light, for whatever. So it was no coincidence. She was manifesting that. Had I just watched her, she would have been a good example. It's basically me looking at me, what I should be, and I didn't listen. Mm-hmm. So sometimes people will reflect what you should be. You just got to listen to that. So that was my illusion in the flashlight. So that's my story on the illusion.
That's perfect. You talked about that you were here to grow, and I heard that when we grow, we soak up the nutrients of what's around us. So as we're growing, whatever environment we are in during that growth, we are going to suck up that energy. So we want to make sure we are in pleasant environments. If we're trying to change your environment if you're growing. You don't want to stay in bad soil. You don't want to stay somewhere where you're going to soak up that nastiness. Sometimes we need to transplant ourselves to a new pot, fresh soil, start fresh. And I wanted to add that because I feel like maybe that's what Lilith did. Lilith was like planting herself in a different garden again, like, hey, no, we're doing it different. Let's try this way.
Right.
So sometimes you need to uproot yourself, plant yourself in a new garden.
Yeah, no, I didn't do that. I wanted to stay. I wanted to stay and be a victim because it felt better to me to be the victim and stay there. That's perfect because because right now I'm in my own victimhood. I stay there and she stays with me. That part of Lilith stays with me, which is your sister's shadow, which stays because, as you know, October 9th, 20 of her is there with Marcus, tied to Marcus, but the rest is with me. And it's always been supposed to be. That song that I can't even hear, the Yellow Brick Road. And it's not really out in John's version anymore. It's the Sarah Bareilles version. I can't, and now Ant-Man has it. And it's about multiverses, of course. So it's just, and Laura said it brought tears to her eyes because she said she could think of me. She said, you just remind me of that, all of it. Of course, Loki, but I noticed though my growth is Loki has no mercy still, but I have a little more mercy. And Laura said that the other day. She said, I've noticed talking to you, like if there's a fight, the old me would have reacted and like that. But I say Loki's just going apeshit. Me, I go, let's listen to and I listen more. And I learned to listen because that's not, and I uprooted from that. I'm still in my illusion now. I'm still here and okay, because I'm comfortable, but I feel this is where I best am suited. I'm a demon. I can't be in this atmosphere. I'm not going to get struck down by light. Okay, that's just stupid. It's just my decision. And if I chose, it's always I could. How many times I hear the 99 reckless love, and how many times I can hear that, saving that one. I know he's after me. I get it. He's going to do it until that part of me, Archangel Lucifer. That's me. That's me. So when I say Locaeus, I don't want to say Locaeus. That's me. That's just, but how many times you see somebody mirroring good and you're just jealous of that? But it's being mirrored for a reason, because that's still you. You all are like Meku. You're all one light. You're just no separation. There's no separation for me than anybody. But Lola thought was understanding more and more and more, which was what I should have. And I didn't. I like being in my victimhood, and I'm very clear. I'm okay, but I would rather teach you not to do it. But I'm good with dealing, like sleeping in my stank. I'm pretty good with that. I don't, and she stays with me, and I feel bad. But she loves me, so that's the one source of love that I have at this teaching me, and that. So she teaches me on that illusion. But I wanted to mention on the illusion that was my walk, but this was what happened, and so many humans can understand that. Jesus just happened to do what I should have done. I didn't do that, but he did do it. He just planted himself in a different way. And look what he accomplished. I did something how I did it, and everybody views me as this terrible demon that is going to kill you. But no, it's not. It's not. And I won't get into all of the whatever, but that's how I'm viewed for that reasoning. Because and then when you are ego and you do walk and you are a victim, people aren't going to side with you as much as you think they're not. Jesus was righteous. People will side with that because they know it was good. Look at Easter and all of this that he did. There might be a few people that go, oh my God, doesn't he? That's okay. He did a lot what most people won't do. He did. I should have done that. And I didn't do that. So make sure your walk is a good walk. Learn your lessons fast. I didn't. I wanted to wallow in self-pity, and I still wallow in that. And we don't want you to wallow in that. Like, get out of your stink and do something. Angie, as that example, a possible thing that could happen happened.
Yeah.
And look at you, you're more charitable, but something happens to you. Talk about your bank account and what you did, because I find that very on this lines of our story, what we're talking about.
So I had I felt compelled to look on my online account, my banking account, and I saw a lot of charges that I did not put on my card, like a lot of them. There was almost $200 taken away. And I was frustrated. I was angry. I felt violated. I was trying to figure out, like, maybe what did I do to open myself up to this? Like, what was my leak? And I was over being frustrated with it. I cussed a lot that day, and I'm not a big cusser. I was yesterday getting tattooed. I cussed a lot that day too. Anyway, so I was just like, fine. Spirit, what is something I can do to take away this yuck feeling? And I saw a friend of mine's face in my mind's eye, and he's been in need of some help lately. So, and I've been wanting to help him, but I hadn't had the money. Well, when it was taken, I knew what they wanted me to do. They wanted me to give it willingly to someone that needed it. And that helped me. Like, that changed me. I was from here frustrated and sad to up here. Well, I was finally able to help somebody. Well, that helps me feel good. And that helped him feel good. You know, they were able to get groceries and stuff. Like, they needed it. Someone took something they probably didn't need, but they just took it unwillingly. And now I give it to someone that needs it. That is God. That when I was down and I lost my job and Ellie was sick with cancer, I know God was putting me in the mind's eye of other people that would send me money to help me out because they knew I needed it. And I knew God was doing that for me. I didn't know God before this, right? But when Ellie got cancer, she flatlined, bada bing, bada boom. I said, oh God, no, in my head. And I heard, what took you so long? It was this reconnecting to me. And I know, I know for certain God helped me during all of that. When I was sad, someone would call me to help me out or send me a text that gave me the encouraging word I needed to hear. Or Ellie would say something cute and adorable that made me forget how sick she was. Or, you know, the medicine and stuff was crazy expensive. Chemotherapy, all that stuff's expensive. There was a lady that sent me $100 a month for the whole 2.5 years that Ellie was sick with cancer. Because she was helping me and she was following God. She knew, and she kept saying, well, God put it on my heart to do that for you. That's what God does. God's not wielding guns and murdering people. He's putting you in the mind's eye of somebody else to send you help, to send you a text, to send you relief, to send you a donation. We just have to be willing to do it. If you see the face, ask, why am I seeing that face? What do I need to do to help them? Because it's help. You're being asked to help somebody. And it's beautiful. And I wished I saw all of that before in my life. I wish that instead of some old lady coming to me at the mall at 14 telling me I was going to burn in hell because I had a tattoo and my hair was weird, I wish she would have been like, hey, there's a God that like created everything and that loves you. How much better could she have helped my life had she been willing to do that instead of trying to put me down and act like I'm going to burn in hell? That's shitty. Stop being shitty to people. Who are you? Weren't you shitty at one point? How would you feel if someone did that to you, especially to a kid? Let's try to be hopeful and helpful to people, because that's what speaks to people's hearts. That's what opens up people's hearts. That's what opens up people's minds. That's what allows people to change their shitty belief systems, to have more empowering belief systems so they can have a happy, peaceful life for themselves and their families. If you're telling people they're going to hell, you're going to make them feel bad with every choice they make. They may be making good choices. Like I know people that are gay, right? And they think because loving someone, they're going to burn in hell. Their parents have left them because of this belief. That's such a shitty belief. You're not going to hell. There's no hell. But if there was, you wouldn't be going there for loving someone. We need to change our belief systems because they are effed up and they're effing people up. And that's not what we need. That's not what this simulation was about. This simulation was, hey, we're perfect beings. We come from love. We come here to experience everything we can experience in our perfect world. But we choose wrong. We choose to experience such nasty things and murdering people and stealing from people and wanting more than other people and wanting to, I'm white and you're not. Everybody's got to be better than everybody. No, we're all the same. We're all equal. We all need to see we're equal. And again, if we all came from Adam and Eve, then we're all from the same damn line of DNA, aren't we? There is no difference. There is no race. There is none of that. None of that. It's nonsense. It's illusion. You are a perfect being pretending to be an asshole. So instead of pretending to be an asshole, pretend to be a good, perfect being again. And let's see how quickly this place changes.
Absolutely. This is a little chaos. And absolutely. And this, what I'd like to do, and it's not so I just want to go on the Bible because it's going to be Easter over the weekend, and this is all I'm going to say. When you go to church, you're just taking this interpretation of this pastor, okay? That's all you're doing, and you'll take it in however the message is meant for you to take it in. Sometimes one will come in and talk and give the message in a way you understand it with your belief system. And when I say that, it's the truth. Sometimes you're going to go and it's not, and it's their beliefs, and it's a lot of hate and don't like gays, and that's the blacks are here and whatever. So all of that you're doing is taking a passage, interpreting that in their way for you. That's all it is. So here's my thing. And I would know this because how old am I, right? In churches was invented. Now, please listen to me. Churches were a way to get to scare you to go to hell to make money for the government. That's all it was. You know where they got the name for the devil? Was Herne the Hunter. The pagans would sit in the church because they didn't want to be there, but they had to be there. So while the person is talking about hell and the hellfire, and they know none of that exists, they were drawing their deity. And they would draw Herne the Hunter and look as he's got a tail, and they would look and worship him. And they're not putting it together. They're just thinking with their ego that they're listening. Well, they'd come in, and to them, like, wait a second. I could scare people with that. And they would start rotating these people to sit. So somebody else that wouldn't know that, they would like, well, so-and-so sitting over here. Look at that. Look at that wing thing. Ugly, nasty, the tail. Now they know, the pagans know it's Herne. This other person that's so caught up in this belief, but if you pay me money, you won't go to hell. That is a demon. That is Satan. That is Lucifer, because the stories of Lucifer has already started. It's easy to just go ahead and say that. It's okay. Lucifer was a good example at that moment. So let's use him. You're going to be a demon like him. He was not a demon. He was an archangel. He was an archangel, but yet he's a demon because he's different. So then, but that's all it was. You want to talk about, I say the best thing is watch History of the World Part 2. When they go to discussing what's in the Bible, I thought it very interesting because it's very close to the truth. I won't say ruin it for most of you, but yeah, Jesus is not white. Let's use the white guy because that's what Jesus would look like. No, that's no. And part of it, the stories and all of this, very true to the fact. If they would take out stuff they didn't want you to know because they wanted money. So when you go to church, what's the first thing that they do? If you give, you do it for paradise. No, you do it here. Be a good person. Because there's so many people that they think that I'll pay that donation. I'm going to be an asshole all week. I'm going to go to church, but my donation in of 100 or whatever more. And it's not killing you to do this. And because when you give, it's supposed to be uncomfortable giving. It's not supposed to be giving in a way where it's 100. I got that. I've got 5 million over here. What's 100 to me? Take that money and you do invest it and help somebody that you really know needs that help. And like you go to church and now you're righteous because I'm in that building. A lot of people go to that church building and they're like, I'm here, kiss my feet. I'm significant now. I am significant. I have secured my place in paradise. And then they sit there and judge you. Oh, look at that poor person sitting there. Oh, I feel bad for them. Well, if you feel that's the case, go help them. They're probably not poor, but in your stupid mind, hey, you know, or so-and-so comes out and talks a sad story or something. Oh, I'm glad I'm not them. I wonder what time dinner is. That's the human mind. You're just so don't even care. But then you have other people that don't go to church. They're evil now because they just don't set foot in a church. No, they're not. They just don't want to listen to the bullshit. Are all churches like that? No. Are all people that go to church like that? No. Are 80% of you that do that? Yes. And I'm sorry. 20% of you might be great, but the 80% of you are jackasses. Yeah. And I don't care who you are, whatever the case, that's what you preach. I apologize, but you are. If you are a good person, Michelle and Angie don't go to church. They don't go because they know something higher. Well, they did, but the beliefs were a lot of just crappy beliefs from everybody else. And they didn't want to set foot in a place that's how they believe, because that's not what they believe. Maybe some of their teachings were nice or whatever, but the beliefs as a whole of the church was not agreeable to them, and they left because they learned you're interpreting your way of things. They're not interpreting how you need to hear it. Now, sometimes you're going to get a great path. It really does love. There's a couple here that do actually want to preach the truth, but they want the 4 John coins. I know I keep saying that. People are like, what the heck are you talking about? But they really do want to, but they can't because somebody else is telling them how to teach to keep their job. For money, absolutely. For their paycheck, for money. Yes. because that's the significance.
Yep.
Then like go away. Now when I talk about Joel Osteen and Joyce Meyer, that's not the case with these two. They really do. Now I'm talking, these are the people that they will give their time. They do love you. And so that I will say there are people out there that do. That's what I'm saying. Find one that's agreeable. I can listen to them and Michelle gets it, likes it, and that's fine. As long as that, but I'm talking about if you go somewhere, it just don't feel right, just don't go. I don't care. Because it just means that the energy of the people isn't good for you. And it's and if you are one of these people, don't do that. You're not going to be give when it's uncomfortable. And because this church does actually give, and they do actually do things for people. That is one drawback. If you give it, they do, but you don't know how much these people are actually so you don't know. So it's easier just to give to charities the people are going to get it. You can actually help, hands-on volunteering, and things like that. So as you do things like that, you break because when you're depressed, you're thinking of yourself. When you're angry, you're thinking of yourself. But when you're doing something, because Angie could have sat and been, oh my God, oh no, when she thought of somebody else, it went easier for you. And when you talked and got everything straightened out, because your mind was in a higher place, because it was divine saying, that's what your lesson was. That's it, my child. Thank you. You got it. So many others would have just gone, I'm in this fear. Why would somebody do that? Oh, they're going to die in hell, man. That's the reaction. And then it sets a trigger and a belief, and you didn't learn your lesson, and it's going to keep happening to you until you learn your lesson. Now that you learned your lesson, Angie, it's not going to happen to you because you learned. You went and took a different approach. You took the approach of a divine being. That's why gurus. That's how they level up. Yep. And that's paradise. You have paradise here. You don't have to give to a church for paradise. If you want paradise, it's here. Yeah. It's right here. It's all in your illusions, all in your how you scope it out. It is right here. Set your world in reality now. Is it good to have money? Yes, it is, because you can get things. But if you just have money and no love and peace, no. You're meant to have it, but to help other people. What's your why? Why do you do what you do? And you give to others. You donate. Tony Robbins is one that he talks about donation, and he talks about over and over. Because when he give, because he was talking about a story where he said he wasn't giving for the longest time, and he was so caught up in himself. Like he was so caught up. This is before he started teaching his stuff. And he said that he was a young punk kid discrediting everybody because he knew more than anybody, and it was living paycheck to paycheck. He couldn't understand what was going on. He just couldn't get it. And he sat in his car crying one day because he just said month after month of the same shit. He said he learned a valuable lesson. He wasn't giving. So he said he went to a restaurant, and it was a mom and her son sitting there. He had just enough money to pay his rent and a meal, and that's all the money he had. But he gave it. The boy was sitting there like treating his mom, and something came over him, like with Angie. Yeah. And he gave all of it. And he said, treat your mom because this is beautiful. Because the boy was, and he felt that, and he gave it to him to treat your mom. And that was everything he had. He walked out going, what in the hell did I just do? That was rent. That was my food. But as soon as he did it, it worked. He said, that's what you do. He was in himself. He was in his head. When he got out of his head for that 5 seconds, he said that boy just lit up. And he said, because that taught him to give to somebody else in my worst moments. He said it cheered his mom up, watching and she knew there's good people out there. And there's this young kid. Now she knows her son's going to be one of these wonderful guys that just out of the blue, because I think he said he was 21 or something like that, for no reason. And now her son is going to be just like that because he saw a valuable. So it was like a domino effect. Loving people love people, not hurting people hurt people. It was that. So I wanted to use that, Angie, because that's exactly what he did. And when you do that, you receive so much more because and it was needed, but you look beyond yourself because I'm not going to be in myself. It's over here's where I need to be. We're not here for ourselves. You're here for others. I could be in paradise right now, basking in the sun, whatever. It doesn't mean anything if I know humans could use the knowledge that we have. And it doesn't mean shit to us if we're just basking in a paradise, not helping nobody. That doesn't serve shit. We want to help everybody.
I think a good rule of thumb too is if we're experiencing something and we want experiencing something different, do the opposite of whatever just happened. I think a lot of times that's our way out. That's yin and yang. If we're in the shadow and we want to experience light, do the opposite of what the hell you just did. I know our grandma used to go to church all the time, and everybody would compare dresses. How nice is her dress and how nice is that dress? Maybe instead of judging people that go to church for how they dress, maybe just listen to the message. Maybe do the opposite of judging people. Don't judge, or judge yourself. Like, we need to do different things. We need to be uprooted from our shitty pot to a good, healthy pot. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was talking about church, I'm doing it only because I want people to think when they go. If you want to donate and your reasons are good, then that's fine. I'm tired of majority of what I'm hearing, and it just upsets me, especially with Easter and Jesus. And sometimes I know the reasons aren't for the right reasons, and it upsets me as an archangel, and I see it. It's like, I want people to embrace what are you celebrating? Know what you're celebrating. It's not about the Easter bunny and the candy and all that. It doesn't have, it's a pagan thing, and it was right around Easter, and for whatever reason it's because it's money, financial. But nobody knows. If you ask what does it mean to a child, I don't know, unless they don't know what it means. And I think that's sad. You should know what you're celebrating. I mean, if you're going to have a big meal, thank him. Say, this is, now I know, because that's significant. Like, why? It's like Good Friday. Well, he died. Why is it Good Friday? But because humans were saved that day, because he decided he loved you all more than him. That was his journey to do. And nobody appreciates that. If you know the world, and he will always help. Of course, that energy is here right now. But people are too busy being this lower vibrational energy. It's right in front of you to be the opposite. If you don't like being in your shadow, find a role model. If you really truly don't want to be in your ass anymore, what you find a role model that's already where you want to be, and you will be given that. All you've got to do is divine, whoever this is to you, even to your higher, if you're an atheist, your higher self, but still you have something. Give me a sign. Give me a sign. Gabby Bernstein said, I need a miracle. Give me a miracle. God, I just need a miracle. And she would boom, boom, boom. She'd get something. And she said the day she asked that was the day she went to her Alcohol Anonymous and became clean and sober. The day she said, God, help me. I need help. I don't want to be an addict anymore. And she went to rehab. She never looked back, because she asked. She went to have role models higher than her that knew how to help her. Sometimes your role model can be the highest divine. Michelle's using that as hers, Krishna as hers right now, because she said, I need a role model. She's using Angie as a role model because she went through divorce. Michelle don't want to be, she wants to be where you are. And there's a lot of work Angie's put into herself over the 11 years and everything. But Michelle wants to get to that. So she knows I can be here. Like, she'll remember your wedding, Angie. And she goes, that was the most beautiful thing. It made her cry. And so when we do that Tony Robbins priming, she goes back to your wedding, Scott on the unicycle, and she goes, I want something. I really love that. And watching Ellie you just knew she was just a tear. I mean, just so happy. Well, mom's so happy, and it was beautiful. So Michelle goes to and remembers and feels that, and that's what I want. So that's her role model. That this is what I want. I know I can get this. So that's what she's to help her out through the divorce. And it is helping her. Just find something higher than you as that role model. But like Angie said, just do the opposite of what you're doing. And if you need help, you get help. You just have to ask. You just have to ask, and it'll be given to you.
100%. And
Absolutely.
with Easter, I like to remind myself that not only did Jesus willingly die for all of us, he carried a cross while people were spitting at him and throwing things at him and yelling at him, and he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. Could you do that? Could you do that? Could you be humiliated in front of people that you love and not say anything? Like, I think sometimes followers of Jesus don't see how beautiful he was in his actions, to not be human in these situations where he could have been human. He rose to a higher vibration, and let's try to do that. If you love Jesus, right? And if you know he died for your sins, be a little bit more respectful of the journey that he made for you to have this life possible for you. You know, I don't think the way to pay him back is to belittle and murder other people. I think the way to pay him back is to allow him to be your teacher, right? They called him rabbi. They called him teacher. Why? Because he was teaching them new ways. He was teaching them new ways of being human, to be higher level human, so they could have happy lives. We all have that ability. That's the good news of Jesus, not the bad news of, hey, you're going to burn in hell. F that. The good news is we're all saved. We all go to heaven when we die, but we need to make this place a heaven. We can have heaven on earth. So many people think that this place needs to burn up in a lake of fire and we go to heaven and everybody else goes to hell. And no, righteous one, no, selfish one, that is not the way. They say when Jesus finally took his last breath, that the spirits that were stuck here got raised back to heaven. Why? Because they were free. They were free. We are free.
Your illusion is the first, this is the first illusion. This is Loki. Your first law of illusion here is separateness.
Yeah.
You're not separate. That's an illusion. You're not ever separate. But this is beliefs and this is everything. If you go by your senses, you're not. We have tried with Michelle. So maybe people, you can try this, because things that we try, Angie and Michelle do, is things we try and we won't mention unless it has worked for her, and it is working. I know Angie does this too, because we're over here and over there. But we're a little bit more calm over here. Over here, we're like, we're always trying to go after Marcus and stuff. Yeah. Or I am anyway, not Miku. I got to clear that up, just me. And okay. But the Marcus just, anyway, I'm sorry. I could just talk about him for a while. But I got to get back to what I was talking about. Okay, I know. So Michelle, the other day, I wanted to teach her that she's having still these illusions with her ex-husband. She was divorced as of last June and still a mind up. He's remarried, so she should already know, and she don't want him back. It's just she doesn't feel safe because she has to give herself time to feel safe, right? And she said, I wish you guys were here. I go, but we are. She says, well, show me, prove it. I'm like, really? Oh my God. Sometimes as human, I'm going to bop you, but I love you. Okay, priestess. I will. And and she didn't say it like that. She's getting mad at me. I didn't say it like that. Oh my God, it did. But anyway. Yeah. So I had her close her eyes. And since she's the closest to Marcus, because they're tied, so he's the easiest and he's most calming, I'm like, ugh. So I said, close your eyes. So she did. It's like the lemon thing. And to go by her senses, I said, can you feel him around you? So first she's like, no, because her mind is saying this is stupid. This is like, I'm not two. And that's what we felt. I said, okay, drop the damn monkey mind. Back it up. So I close her eyes. Tell the monkey mind, I'm not the body. I'm not even the mind a few times. So remind the soul light, this is not who you are. I am divine love. Then we said, now say, connect me to Marcus, because she's already a part of Marcus. So we said, connect that. So I said, Marcus, kiss her cheek. Let her feel that. She felt that because it gets her senses. I said, whisper in her ear. And she goes, she starts like this. I said, touch her shoulders. I had him activate all her sensories. And I said, honey, he's right there. I can do that to you, Angie. Well, close your eyes. And I'll mention the one that you're closest to, and we'll show everybody how this works. So right now, I want you to connect to Cosmo, because right now he's standing the closest to you. Now, I'm going to ask Cosmo. Now, first off, let me, Angie, just drop the monkey mind, because we got to do that. I'm not the body. I'm not even the mind. I'm not the body. I'm not even that mind. I'm not the body. I'm not the mind. I am a divine light of the holy light. And this is, I'm on a soul mission. So I am not anything but this soul light. Now, Cosmo, go to Angie. And I want you, Angie, feel he's going to kiss you on the cheek, on your right side of your cheek. And you're going to feel him kiss you on the cheek. You will feel it. Now, Cosmo, I want you to whisper on the left side of her ear. Just say anything you say. I don't want to know what you say because I know what you can say, but whatever you want to say on the left side, but let her feel that vibration. It's really not so much what you say, it's the vibration. Yeah, I know, he's an ass. Now, Cosmo, why don't you, now I want you to hug her and as most loving as you can, hug her and let her feel that hug, feel that love. Feel that with all your senses. See it, Angie. Feel it, hear it, taste it. Love has a taste and a flavor. It's cigarettes. He's giving me the impression of cigarettes. So like you can really just, whatever he's telling you, and that's what I'm feeling with him. All of it. Smell his cologne, smell the sweat, whatever, with him, Cosmo. And you will be there with Cosmo. Imagine that pizza sitting there right there with that beer and him saying something idiotic and him dancing blue to Marcus or whatever. Right. And he wants to know what love is. Feel it all, but feel it, Angie. Feel it. Is he separate from you? No, that's not separate. Now, you want to connect to Jesus as such and see, because you can feel it with all your senses. And you got your sixth sense, your third eye. You got your crown chakra. You got all your chakras that'll connect you as well. So why don't you all take advantage of that? You're not separate. So again, you're not separate. So you ask Jesus for all of these things. Guess what? You'll feel all of it. And he wants to connect. And the more you're in that loving embrace, you don't want to go back to no hateful mode. It's not going to feel right to you anymore. You're going to want to go to this loving embrace because love is the highest vibration of all. So I wanted to do that because that's what we did for her. And it made her cry as such with you. And when she's after the tattoo yesterday, she said, I need that again. And she asked willingly. She says, Marcus, I need you. And he's like, oh, it's fine. And she felt as she went right back into his embrace, she felt all of it and fell asleep.
I just want to say he whispered Easter eggs.
I know. I was going to say something. He was grinning, and I go,
I wasn't expecting Easter eggs to be what he said.
I smiled compared to what he could say.
Oh, for real, Easter eggs is real good.
Compared to what he can say, yeah, I was surprised when he said that. I'm like, okay, I'll go with that. I was thinking he was going to say something completely different.
Me too. But I enjoyed Easter eggs.
But you can feel it. I mean, all your emotions, you can feel that. So,
yeah.
So please try that at home. And you've seen it. Angie did that right there. And I mean, find your favorite music. It's better in silence, more because sometimes music can be distracting. But if it helps you, binaural beats 528, try that because that's the love. Try that. Yeah. Try that love and connect if that is your thing. Whatever. Michelle does Japanese flutes, because it takes her back and she loves it, and that'll help her connect, and sometimes silence. But try that. When next time you feel alone, just taste all of that. And if you miss, everybody's a medium. Everybody, if you miss a loved one, that's another thing as well.
Absolutely. I love that you mentioned that there's no separateness, because a lot of Christianity, you're told that you're separate and that you don't go back to God until you die and go to heaven, or that you're not really a part of God. It's way bigger than you and you're a sinner. No, it's a part of you. That's a wrong belief. And that wrong belief has caused a lot of problems in our minds, because our minds think we're separate. But again, all of the illusion is happening in here. It's happening in our mind. Our mind's not even real either. None of this is real. We just think it is, so we can learn from it. So keep that in mind when we say that this is an illusion. This is what we're talking about. All of this life, everything, it's all a projection, and it's all a projection that starts in your mind.
Right, absolutely. So
you can change anything, and you can have this project happiness. If you want a better outcome to thing, ask or just see it. See how this is the life I want, and then you can just make your way to that. Just change your belief systems. Replot yourself, baby.
Absolutely. And if you say anything after I am, you do become that. I am happy. I am a lucky person, and whatever that means to you. Sarah Prout has said that in one of her things. What does that mean to you? But when you say I am, follow up with that. Michelle always says, I am divine love of the highest, purest light, because that's what she's wanting to be, or I am happy. Follow that. And if you are so, and then quickly, if you are feeling mad, angry, you will become what you are. So if you always say, I'm angry, 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 it will affect your chakras and it affects your organs, and it will affect you because you got a lot of energy centers. So you do have to remember that. So it all comes in your body and you have to get rid of it. But if you don't, it's going to come out in ways of diseases and things. You got to take care of all this emotions. You can't just swallow that up. So a good thing to do. So and all these emotions are going to pop up, and they're not bad. These are things to teach you. Fear is to teach you to do something. Do something about it. This is a good thing. Do something. Don't let it get to this point. Anger. If there's anger in your system, instead of saying, I am angry, I feel angry. It's a whole other thing. That way you don't become anger. You will not become it. I am depressed. I am sad right now. What is it? I'm sure you're not depressed. I'm sure you're not tickled. What's the better say? I feel a little ticked off right now.
Yeah.
And another thing too, you could be angry and like, I feel a little ticked off. That way your mind is like, oh, okay, because it'll follow what you say.
Yeah.
Teach it. You teach your mind how you want it to be. Set the boundaries with it. Yeah. And it'll change your word. Tony Robbins says he took depressed out of his vocab. He says, I might get ticked off, but I'm not going to go there anymore. I'm just going to be, he said, I knocked it out. I might be sad. He said, I feel sad. It's not, I am sad. You don't become that. So there's another lesson right there.
Perfect. All right. This was like an hour and 40 minutes. I think we did a heck of a job. Do we want to have Marcus come through and he can sign us out?
Yes. And I want to say this in front of everybody, Mr. Marcus. Please tell my priestesses they don't need more tattoos. I cannot handle a tattoo. I got one on my face. I gotta say it because Loki gets on me. Yeah. I got one right here on my temple. That represents my marriage to my priestess. Okay, that means I enjoyed it. I just meant I have it. Yeah. It's my devotion to my priestess for always, and it's right here. It's an Atlantean thing. So it doesn't mean I enjoyed that whole process because it was not your like needle. It was.
Yeah.
It was great, and like, and you weren't allowed to go, and like you were in pain, like.
Yeah.
I want to die. Yeah, that's how you guys were feeling towards. Yeah, that's how I was. The first, I'm like, okay, but I gotta do this. So if you love these girls as much as I do, see my face is cute. Tell them they don't need no more. This is Loki. I call BS on that bullshit. Go F off, Marcus. I've been outvoted. All right. I tried.
Well, our skin is only getting older, and the older it gets, you can't get it tattooed. So sooner or later, we're going to be cut off from age.
Well, here's what's going to happen. Every so many months, you're going to be like, I got to beat the clock.
Right. I got to get this show on the road.
That's what Michelle said, Laura. So Laura says, I want to go to Tommy. And she's talking about different areas. And she said, does it hurt? Does it hurt? No, Michelle says, which made me feel, she said, pick a spot and go with it. It's going to hurt no matter where you put it. Just pick a spot, go with it. Yeah. And I'm sitting there going, I am effed. Because I can see what you girls are going to do. It's like, fill it all up, fill it up, fill it up. I'll manifest that money, fill it up, yeah. And he's a good artist, and that too. So I'm foobarred on this. So I know. I know what you girls are going to do to me. I just thought that people were listening, but I know I'm outvoted. Especially Maku with all his designs. Yeah, I'm been outvoted. Yeah, but anyway, so I'd like to thank everybody for being here. I'd like to thank the Most Divine. I like to, with Jesus, with Easter, enjoy your families. Remember why you're celebrating. Be more in that walk with Jesus. There's probably a meditation. It's on the Hallow app. It's a Catholic, but it's called Stations of the Cross. I can't imagine YouTube would not have something, but it lets you imitate the walk that Jesus walked to put you into that mindset of why he died. And it's powerful. It's the walk. And they tell you, how did that feel? How do you think he felt? And where people are jeering on either side of you, throwing stuff at you, and you're just standing there. It's pretty powerful stuff. So maybe try that. And if there isn't one, it's called that, do one yourself. And he'll take you there. All you got to do is ask. Just say, I want to view it as a third person, but not the actual walk. Because I don't, unless you want that. Michelle has, because this app, you are walking in his shoes. And I think it would give you the feeling of what, when you are saying Easter, you'll know more of why you're celebrating and what love was given to all of you. This just the kind of food for thought. And if you are going to church, all okay is really the same. When you go for the right reasons. Go for the right, when I say go for the right reasons, for fellowship, be in that support, be in that eater, being a good human. That's what I mean. And if somebody is, just don't judge, and be that ear, be the love, be the music, be whatever this person needs. Maybe the pastor isn't, you can be. You don't have to be a different, so be the person you want somebody to talk to you and be that person, be that love. There's some kind of hate ego coming at you. Be a love. And if you don't agree with something being said, take what was beautiful of the message, take what was beautiful of it. I'm sure if you keep going, I'm sure there's something beautiful you picked up. And take what about that? Don't read in anymore. You don't have to stare, the pastor sucks. And he gave his heart to you on whatever message it was, even if it's all blacks or just no, whatever it was, you would know, okay, that's just stupid. But the rest of it was, the rest of that. And all I'm saying is sometimes churches are few in between, and sometimes you just got to do this. And I understand. And if you are going, we're not saying you're evil, but just saying, think about your actions. You represent God in everything you do. Just be your own representation of how he would want you to be anywhere, including a church. Okay? Just be that. Be the representative for somebody else, and that's going to show somebody else how to be. Loving people, isn't it? And it will keep this going down the line, as Angie said so beautifully. I appreciate you do sharing your story, Angie. I appreciate that, because I wanted people to understand that's beautiful. That's what we do. We are humbled amidst something happening to us in a crisis. That's love, us showing love, and that's what Jesus would do. And that's what he did so many times. So this Easter, everybody just enjoy yourself. The children, happy Easter hunting, all your eggs, have fun, the chocolate. Make sure your mommy and daddy change on this, assuming that they're letting you watch it. If you're the adult, just don't overeat, because that can happen. But be joyful in your families, be grateful in your families. Think another year you're with your family. Praise because you're here because of something higher than you. Whatever you believe. If you go to church, be you. Represent God in everything you go. Wherever you go, represent him in the highest form, even if it's just your highest self. Buddha, Krishna, whatever you believe, Lucifer, whatever, be the highest good. Because in the end, that's what it is. Nothing's ever just good. Nothing's bad. It simply is what it is. That's all it is. Everything in your whole life, that's just how it's going to be. Then you go and we repeat until you do it. And then now you see what you did, you could have done this a little better. You could have said a little bit better here. And then you do it to a different lesson. And that's when you go to the Nirvana, not the shirt brand or the group. But the Rolling Stones, but Shambhala or whatever, the shirt product. But in the end, that's what we're really doing, striving to be the best versions, because we're representing a Most High. Is that the God? Is the diamond, as Angie said, it's all an aspect of what we're learning. Wherever the diamond is facing, that is what we're going to learning. What part of God should we be doing right now, or Buddha or Krishna or whatever representation? What is our lesson? And once it is, it just shifts. Just like a diamond, it shifts. And then we go to a different lesson. And it's a beautiful thing to get you to a higher part. And then once all that's been achieved, you're in the light. We're in a light. There is no body form. We're in a light. But we're still teaching, because guess what? We're not there yet either. But isn't that beautiful? But isn't that beautiful? You just go, wow, I thought Krishna was already there. He loves people to teach. We all love to teach. And we all actually could just be sitting on our asses and not do shit. But we love people. And we want people to learn, because we know there's a higher, because it just means we want everybody with us. We want everybody here with us in this loving state. It doesn't mean anything to us if you're not up that mountain, as Blue Heaven says. We want you with us. So bless everybody that joined us and listening. Take what helps you, help what not help you. Any information or any questions you had, please leave that down below too. We'll answer your questions and that. And if it's going to be hateful, we don't care. Don't leave it. You will not be answered, okay? Because just don't. It's just idiotic. So I'm going to pass it to my priestess, whatever she is. And thank you again, Angie, for all you do, for interpreting us, because so many humans don't understand a word we're saying. And that is okay, because even her own kids don't get us half the time. but I appreciate everything you do, Angie, and being so good to your sister. She takes Michelle to the tattoos. They do these things together, and she does get Michelle out of her shell. She's met Tommy, who's a wonderful man. She's got to hear a lot about her sister's past. No, reconnect with her sister again. Yeah, I know. But to reconnect, like she feels like she's really a part of the friendship. Because Tommy even said, "Do I even remember you?" And Michelle, no, it's a bitch. Oh, no, you probably don't. I'm sorry I said that word, but she did say that. But so I appreciate that, Angie, for being that role model for your sister and loving your sister as you do, and being wonderful. So I appreciate on the bottom of our hearts you do help, and that. So see, we have Michelle has her role model. See how easy that is. Michelle don't want to be how she is. She wants to be better. So here it is, and that. So find your role model. Yeah, just be a better person.
So that's all we're here for. Be better people. Thank you guys for joining us. We won't be here tomorrow for an Ask Lazarus. We're just going to take a bit of a break, especially with today being a long one. We earned it with it being like Easter and stuff. So we're just going to take a break. We'll see y'all next Thursday for an Ask Lazarus. So if you'd like a reading for then, just like send us a message, or if you can't join us at 4:00, just send us a message and say like, hey, I'd like a card, or hey, can you validate this, or hey, what about this? And we'll help you out. And I saw that Shelly was here with a hey, and Ryan had to thank each and every one of you. Thank you guys for watching and sticking with us. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little bit more about what the illusion is when we talk about these things, and all this stuff is going to be in the book that we're writing. But yeah, so hopefully one of these days we'll get that in your hands. So know that we love you and we appreciate you guys listening, and we hope that you received the message the way that it was intended to be received. We love you. Have a happy Easter. Have fun with your family. And that's it.